Hi, my name is Teresa Bruni, and I am the healer at Less Fear, More Flow. Today, I'd like to continue the discussion on managing life with a chronic illness. Today, we're going to talk about what to do when the doctors say you're fine, but you know you're not, how to live life being undiagnosed, finding the right doctor to treat you when you have a chronic health condition, and managing all of that healthcare. I'm going to spend some time talking about that too. I have a few tips and tricks to help you out with that. And then we'll briefly talk about the downside to sharing all of this with family and friends, especially on social media, and some ways to begin your recovery. So let's get started. We have a lot to cover. Okay, so when you start to become ill and you're experiencing symptoms and you go to your regular healthcare provider and they can't find anything wrong with you, that can be quite challenging. I know it was for me. My doctor knew me quite well, and my body was physically strong, yet I had all of these symptoms, and the medical science, they're looking at your blood, they're looking at, vital signs, things like that. They're looking for some sort of proof that will show them what is wrong with your health and well-being. And if they can't find that, then there's a problem. They cannot diagnose you. So what do you do? Okay, so you continue to look for a physician who can diagnose you, or a healthcare provider. In today's world, we don't always get in to see doctors any longer. We oftentimes we get in to see nurse practitioners and physician assistants, and they are, they're highly qualified. However, sometimes you just need the experience of a doctor. So continue that search, talk to family and friends, try to find people who have had similar symptoms to yours and find out what they did. That's one of the things that I did. I was very fortunate that my boss, his wife, had similar symptoms to mine. And so that led me to a doctor of osteopath, and long story, but eventually I got a diagnosis. It actually took me 2 full years to get a diagnosis. So that being said, just keep looking. And in the meantime, you can probably do some things to alleviate your symptoms and to improve your quality of life. So how do you live being undiagnosed? Wow, that's a tough question, because it's hard. You know that something is definitely wrong, even though medical science can't find the proof. And it's a really scary place to be, because you don't know. You don't know if you have some hidden cancer or some other, terminal condition that just hasn't reared its head yet. And so it remains unidentifiable. Do what you can to reduce your stress. And I've got lots of stress reduction tips and tricks on my website. You can go there and have a look. It's my name, teresabruni.com. You want to, okay, so here's the bottom line. Stress causes illness, and stress, when you're stressed, your body is releasing cortisol and adrenaline, which is shutting down your immune system. So the number one thing that you can do to improve your health is to turn on the immune response. And you don't have to turn it on 24 hours a day. Even a few minutes every day will be beneficial to your healing. So let's go back and talk about the stress. You want to take some time every single day to shut down that stress response. It is very stressful being undiagnosed. So take that time to turn your immune system back on. One great way to do that is laughter. You simply cannot laugh and experience stress at the same time. It's not possible. So that's a great tip that you can take away with you today, is reduce that stress until you can get a diagnosis. Try not to share your information with a lot of people. And we're going to talk about that more in a minute. But, everybody has an opinion, and all of those opinions can get you frustrated and really plummet you into the depths of depression because you can't find answers. And that is only going to worsen your condition. And that's what we want to try to prevent. So stress reduction, number one, whether it be a meditative walk, or meditation, or like I said, laughter. There is so much free comedy available on YouTube. You can just jump out there and find something to make you smile, and that will help you to get through this period of uncertainty. My heart goes out to anyone who remains undiagnosed or whose doctor tells them there's nothing wrong with you, when you know deep down inside that something is seriously wrong. Yeah, been there. I know how it feels. Okay, so finding the right doctor, this can also be a challenge, but I encourage you to press on and, call doctors' offices. What I did is I would call and I would ask some questions about that physician. Again, it may not be an actual doctor. It might be a nurse practitioner. I'll try to use the word healthcare provider because that covers everyone. Ask some questions prior to making an appointment. If you're undiagnosed, ask how they do the diagnostic process, explain that you've seen other doctors and you remain undiagnosed. If you have a diagnosis, then be sure to ask, does Dr. Smith treat patients with my condition? If so, how many? And what's the success ratio? Okay, you're entitled to ask those questions. You may not get the right answers or the answers that you want, but you're entitled to answer those questions. One thing that frustrates me about our medical community is you cannot interview a physician like you can a lawyer and other service providers. So, for example, when someone is interested in working with me, I give a complimentary session because I've been through this. And so I know how important it is to be able to ask questions and interview the person that you want to work with. A $500 an hour attorney will give you a consultation, but doctors typically do not. So you can ask about that, but chances are you're going to have to pay for that appointment. So be picky, all right? Look at their ratings on the internet, read the reviews, and continue your search until you find a healthcare provider that can both diagnose you and then help you on your journey to get well. All right. Again, I interviewed many, many doctors until I found the right ones. Managing your healthcare while you're chronically ill. So I have a few tips for you. I could actually talk about this topic for a long time because I learned so much on my journey. But I'm going to give you a few quick tips here, and then I'll record another video and go into more detail. Okay, so if you're chronically ill, you probably have a laundry list of symptoms. And so it's very important to Be organized and prepared for your doctor's appointment. Make a list, write down what your major concerns are and what you want to talk to your healthcare professional about. This will save you time, and you won't have to count on your memory when you get in there to see your healthcare provider. Remember that most of these providers are on a timeline. The average doctor's appointment is 15 minutes. And these healthcare providers, they're on a schedule. They, especially if they work, if they're affiliated with a hospital or some other sort of organization, they have a quota that they have to meet in order to keep their job. So remember that and be respectful of their time. Your respect for your healthcare provider will pay off because they'll show respect for you as well. Most healthcare providers do want to do the best job that they possibly can in the time that they have provided. So it's your job to help them do that. So be organized. If they ask you to bring a list of your medications and you say to yourself, look, I see this doctor every month, they know, just don't count on that. Just follow the rules, so to speak, and do what they ask you to do, and be prepared for that visit. Also, remember, to make that list of your major concerns, and while you're there, try not to throw other things into that appointment that you didn't schedule that appointment for. If you feel that you need an extended appointment, ask for that when you schedule. Again, respecting their time, they're going to know. Also, I have found that doctors and healthcare providers, they like patients who are proactive. So, do your homework, do your research, and be prepared to ask questions. But here's one area of caution. These healthcare professionals have gone through years of training and years of schooling, and then they're in the field. They're in the ground, hitting the ground running every single day, seeing patients. So what you don't want to do is go in there and say, hey, I read this on the internet and I think I finally figured out what's wrong with me. Do not diagnose yourself. It's okay to say something like, the symptoms that I'm experiencing are just like the symptoms I had when you diagnosed me with XYZ. So you're giving them information that they can use to help diagnose you. But remember, that's their job. Don't diagnose yourself. They're not going to like it. Trust me on this one. Okay. Always be on time, be prepared to wait, take a book or, take an audio book or a headset to listen to music. Again, these healthcare providers, they are busy, they're on tight schedules. And if one person throws them behind, they're behind for the rest of the day. That's why when I have to see a healthcare professional, I like to get the first appointment in the morning because I know that I can get in and out quickly. Typically, the later in the day that you go, the longer you're going to have to wait. Okay, so those are a few tips that you can use to help manage your healthcare providers. All right. Okay, let's talk about the downside to sharing your condition and sharing your illness on social media and with friends and family. Here's the problem. Everybody's going to have an opinion. And I talked about this in the last video, especially concerning invisible illnesses such as pain, fibromyalgia. That's a big one. You can't see it. There are a lot of invisible illnesses. And so people will say, well, you look fine, or that they might say, you're always tired. I don't understand. You must just be depressed. You'll get comments that don't feel good at all. And you'll get these from family, and you'll get them from friends. Now, friends may not say anything, but they might be thinking, okay. So be very careful in who you choose to confide in. What you're looking for is support. You're looking for empathy, not necessarily sympathy. You don't necessarily want people to feel sorry for you, but you want people to have empathy and compassion for you. So be very careful who you choose to share this journey with. And as far as posting it on social media, I don't recommend that at all. Again, everybody's going to have an opinion. So, sometimes that can be beneficial if you're looking for, let's say you're looking for a way to soothe a sore throat. You might post that on social media and you actually might get some good tips, but I've seen it. You're going to get hundreds and hundreds of answers, especially if it's in a public forum. You're better off just going on the internet and doing your own research, quite honestly. Some of the time when you post things about your condition, you're going to get a lot of people who I call negative Nellies, okay? And they're going to tell you things like, oh yeah, that happened to my aunt and she never got better. You don't need to hear that. That's not going to assist you in your recovery. So my advice is just don't go there. All right. Personally, I believe in the law of attraction. When it comes to your health and well-being, whatever energy you put out, it's going to come back to you. And so you don't want to put that energy out there. Every time you write about your condition, think of it as carving it in stone. When you write on the internet, I'm sick, I'm not well, I have cancer, whatever the situation is, that's like carving it in stone and sending it out into the universe. And you don't want to do that. You can say things like, I'm learning to manage my condition, right? That has a more positive spin on it. And then you're sending that message out to the universe that you're learning to manage your condition. So those are a few tips concerning sharing your illness and sharing your diagnosis, sharing your medications, any of that. There are a few tips for you. Okay, let's talk about how do I overcome my chronic illness? I'm desperate. All right, this is my favorite topic because I believe that the body is engineered to heal. That's what it's trying to do, actually. If you're chronically ill, your body is trying to get well, and that's where our symptoms come from. Now, when you have a cold, or let's say you get the flu and you spike that fever, it's because your body's doing its job and it's trying to recover. So, medical science is great. They are really good at diagnosing conditions. And there are a lot of pharmaceuticals that are available to help manage conditions. But at the end of the day, your goal is to have complete recovery, like I had over 20 years ago. And I believe that that's doable. I believe that the body is the messenger. So if you're experiencing physical symptoms, it's because there's something going on in your life that you're not paying attention to. Going back to what I talked about earlier, stress causes illness. That's something that we can agree upon across the board. Medical science tells us stress causes illness. When you're stressed, again, you fall into fight or flight. Your body is producing adrenaline and cortisol, which is shutting down your immune system. So if you let that go on long enough, then the body's going to become physically ill. So In addition to using Western medicine, I recommend alternative therapies. There are tons, and you have to decide what's right for you. So for instance, in my practice, I might recommend that a client go see a chiropractor or maybe an acupuncturist. Okay, but let's face it, if you have a fear of needles, an acupuncturist really isn't going to work very well for you. But there are tons and tons of alternative therapists and all kinds of alternative modalities that you can look into to get relief. Massage is another one that I love. Cranial sacral therapy or any other type of energy therapy. So Reiki and other types of energy healing. The list is really endless. So again, it's important to do your research and find what you think is a good fit for you. As always, look at these practitioners, read their reviews, see if you can get recommendations from family and friends. Ask a lot of good questions and make well-informed decisions. More than likely, you're going to run into practitioners along the way that you're just not a good fit with, and that's okay. That's part of the learning process. But at the end of the day, it's really important for you to remember that this is your body and you are ultimately responsible. Now, again, if you're totally desperate, if you've had enough and you're ready to get well, remember that healing requires a very well-rounded approach. So we're talking about proper nutrition. You can't sit around eating junk food and expect your body to have the nutrients that it needs to recover. So proper nutrition. Sometimes when the body gets really run down, liquid nutrition in the form of nutritional shakes is very good. It's easy to take. Sometimes you might not even feel like eating. So, a nutritional shake would be a good idea. Be very careful of the sugar content in some of these products. Remember that 1 gram of sugar is equivalent to 1 tablespoon of sugar. So if you're looking at a product with 6 grams of sugar in it, that's a lot, and that's not good for your health. Okay, so we talked about nutrition, exercise, and you might be saying to me, I can't exercise. I don't feel well, or I'm in chronic pain. I get it. I've been there. Do whatever you can. If it's just walking around the house for half an hour so that you're not sitting stagnant, that will help. You can do what I call passive exercise. So again, getting a massage or having someone come in and physically move your body. The key here is to get your blood circulating, because your blood carries oxygen and nutrients throughout your body. And we want that to happen in order, to facilitate healing. So even if you can't get to the gym, there's all kinds of exercises you can do at home. And again, if you say, I can't exercise, I really can't, I truly can't, it's okay. You can get on the floor and stretch. Or you can even if you can't get out of bed, you can do some stretching exercises or ask someone to come in and help stretch your body. It's kind of a form of physical therapy. So remember, there's always a way to get that blood moving, and you need to figure out how you're going to do that. Okay. So we covered medical science, we covered alternative therapies, we covered nutrition, and we covered exercise. Now we need to talk about the mind, body, spirit approach. You can have 2 people, and they can even be twins. We can have a set of twins with the exact same diagnosis, and one gets better and one doesn't. So what's the difference? It's mindset. All right. It's your willingness to do what it's going to take to get well. And that's where you might need some help. That's when you want to look for someone like me, some sort of coach or healer who can help you on that journey. A good coach, just like a sports coach, is someone who looks at your performance and points out to you where you can do better. They're not your friend. So, that bias is gone, and they're there as your advocate. So find yourself a good, coach or healer who you can have regular sessions with to help support your mind, body, spirit healing. And when you put all of that into practice, your body will get well. I promise you it will. I was chronically ill for over a decade. Again, it took me 2 full years to get diagnosed. That was a pretty scary time in my life. And then I gave medical science 7 years to get me well, and it wasn't happening. So I knew at that point I had to do something differently. And now I teach my clients how to do those things. So if you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you did, I hope you got a lot of information out of it, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and then hit that little bell so you'll get other videos that I publish. And visit my website at teresabruni.com. There you can request a discovery session. Again, I'll meet with you at no charge, and we'll talk about your goals and what I think you need to reach them. I also have some free resources. I have a great 38-page e-course, decoding the messages from your body. So you can visit my website and download that as well. All of those links will be put in the comments section of the video, so you can look for them there. I enjoyed spending this time with you. Please give me your feedback. Let me know what other videos you would like me to record. And here's to your health and well-being. Bye now.